The drug so powerful it will empty the money from your pockets, make you sell the watch off your wrist, the clothes off your back.
I'll kill your mother.
I built this shit. Me. Brick by brick. And I'll be damned if I let you tear it down just because you don't like the way another nigga talk.
From a humble cashier to one of the most feared kingpins of Los Angeles, Franklin Saint's rise was legendary and his downfall inevitable. Today, we're breaking down the entire journey of Franklin Saint in FX Snowfall, from the very first hustle to betrayals and to the tragic ending that left him with nothing.
On the street, they call it rock, a more concentrated, highly addictive form of cocaine, more commonly known as crack.
Franklin Saint didn't begin as a hardened criminal. He was smart, ambitious, and restless, stuck working as a cashier while watching wealth and power pass him by. That changed when he met Avi Drexler, an eccentric arms dealer who gave Franklin his first shot at moving cocaine. Armed with product and ambition, Franklin partnered with his best friends Leon and Kevin, and his Aunt Louie put him in contact with nightclub owner Claudia, who allowed him to move product in her club. But early success came with hard lessons. Lenny and Ray Ray, two street-level robbers, targeted Franklin, beating and robbing him of his supply and Avi's money. The humiliation lit a fire inside him. From then on, Franklin knew that in this world, respect came only through fear, and he would never let anyone take from him again. That lesson sharpened when he confronted Carvel, a gang member who stole Avi's money after he helped retrieve it from Lenny and Ray Ray. After tracking him down, they find him blacked out at his home. They kidnap him and take him into the desert. Carvel escapes the car and is shot in the lower abdomen. Franklin and Leon, they follow the trail of blood and corner him. And as Carvel is about to plead for his life, Leon shoots him twice. In this moment, they did what had to be done. Franklin knew that if he lived, he would become a larger threat later down the line.
It is smoked rather than sniffed. It produces an intense high within 5 to 10 seconds that lasts only 5 to 10 minutes and leaves the user craving for more.
With each risk, Franklin's operation grew. He was introduced to a drug dealer in Oakland known as Swim and was taught how to convert cocaine into crack, telling Leon and Kevin that this is the future of their drug empire. Franklin moved crack on the streets of South Central and cocaine into the mansions of the Hollywood Hills, supplying a new class of wealthy clients. But the real game changer was Teddy McDonald, a CIA operative secretly funding wars in Latin America through cocaine distribution. Teddy gave Franklin something no other drug dealer had: a limitless supply of product. With it, Franklin secured control of Los Angeles, but his ambition and loyalty were constantly tested. Kevin betraying Franklin by selling the rock recipe to the Villanueva cartel in exchange for information on his cousin's killer forced Franklin to make his most difficult decision up to this point in the show. In order to prevent a gang war, he had to kill Kevin, one of his best friends and someone he considered his brother. This marked a turning point for Franklin. Still, Franklin pressed forward. By sheer intelligence, he established himself as the face of Los Angeles' booming crack empire.
The newest and one of the deadliest drugs sweeping the country today is crack, a potent, inexpensive, highly addictive form of cocaine.
Franklin's empire drew enemies on all sides. Rivals like Manboy, the leader of the Compton Crips, and Scully, the leader of the Bloods, wanted his throne. And Andre Wright, his next-door neighbor, a dedicated LAPD officer, and the father of the girl he was in love with, made Franklin his personal crusade. But the biggest challenge came when Franklin was arrested and sent to prison. Behind bars, he was stripped of his power, forced to navigate a world where his influence meant nothing. Outside, enemies circled, but Franklin didn't break. He adapted, hardened, and when he was released, he was colder and sharper than ever. But the personal costs started to pile up. Melody, the girl Franklin once loved, was pulled into the very addiction his empire fed. Andre, who had had enough of Franklin destroying his community and finally his daughter, broke into Franklin's house to get as much evidence against him as possible. When Franklin realized what had happened, he went over to Andre's house and shot him in the head, severing his last tie to Melody. But the cycle of violence came full circle when Melody shot Franklin at her father's wake, leaving him to die.
Drugs now appear to have penetrated every level of society, but some groups appear more vulnerable than others. Many drug experts say the epidemic of crack cocaine is hurting women far more than men.
Franklin's survival only plunged him deeper into conflict. While he was out of commission, Scully and Manboy went to war against one another for control over LA. Weakened, Franklin had to make a decision as to who he would support in this war. His decision was to lure Scully into a warehouse where him and Manboy would take each other out. After a failed attempt on his life, Scully wanted blood. And the violence reached its peak when Leon accidentally killed Scully's young daughter and Manboy's niece, an act that escalated bloodshed across South Central. A $5,000 hit is placed on Leon, and Manboy goes to Franklin, telling him to give him up. Franklin refuses. Knowing he won't give up, Franklin comes up with a plan to lure Manboy in, and he kills him. At home, Franklin's family began to fracture. Jerome and Louis, once loyal, started questioning his leadership. His father, Alton, exposed Teddy's CIA ties to the press, threatening to destroy the entire operation. This leads to a standoff between Alton, Teddy, and Franklin. Teddy agrees to allow Franklin's parents to run away to Cuba. But when Teddy shows up in Cuba and kills Alton, Franklin loses more than just his father. He loses the illusion that there was any escape from the game he had chosen.
When your so-called friends run out on you, who will be there, your mama or your daddy, to help you? It's nothing wrong with having friends, but don't turn your family off. Family is what it's all about, and your family will always be there for you, young people.
At the height of his power, Franklin tried his transition into legitimacy. He poured money into real estate and expanded beyond Los Angeles. Finally, he had what he wanted: money, a happy family, and a loving girlfriend. But cracks began to spread through his empire. Rob, a longtime friend, fell victim to addiction, and without hesitation, Franklin killed him to protect the business. Peaches, his trusted bodyguard, witnesses this and betrays him, vanishing with millions. Then came Louis' betrayal. His aunt, tired of living in his shadow, went behind his back to create her own deal with Teddy. At Jerome and Louis' wedding, things turned surreal when everyone was unknowingly dosed with LSD. Franklin's trip revealed his deepest paranoia. Betrayal was inevitable, even from those closest to him. The next day, Louis tells Franklin that they want out, and she's going to deal personally with Teddy. Franklin, feeling betrayed, tells Teddy that he wants out, that Louis and Jerome are going to handle things from now on, and that he is done. They shake hands and go their separate ways. Franklin is finally a free man, or so he thought.
If I don't have that money in 24 hours, I promise to God that I will devote every second I have on this green earth to making sure you and everybody you care about suffers. Do you understand me?
Teddy steals $74 million from every account Franklin has. He turned to Louis for help, but when she refused, he retaliated by robbing her and Jerome, a move that started a blood feud within his own family. The war ended with Jerome dead, Louis broken, and Franklin even more isolated.
People are armed, people are dangerous, and people are acting irrationally, and that's something that you always have to be aware of 24 hours a day.
In his desperation to find Teddy, Franklin aligned with the KGB. He hunted down Teddy's father and killed him. Finally, with Gustavo and Louis' help, Franklin captured Teddy. This was his last chance to reclaim his stolen fortune. He tortured Teddy, demanding that he give him his money, and after a few days, Teddy agrees. His life for half the money. Franklin then agrees to hand him over to the CIA, but just as victory was within reach, his mother Sissy intervened. In broad daylight, she shot Teddy dead. In his mother's eyes, this was her saving him from corruption, but to Franklin, it was the ultimate betrayal. His own mother, stealing his last chance at salvation. His mother goes to prison, and with no money, no allies, and no family, Franklin spirals into ruin. He threatens his pregnant girlfriend and she leaves him. He then does the one thing he promised himself he would never do and turns to alcohol as a coping mechanism. But after months of hopelessness, he finds a silver lining. Peaches, the man who stole millions from him after Rob's death, had finally been found. He goes to Peaches' house and confronts him, only to find him with a needle in his arm. After a few minutes of conversation, Franklin kills him. He then finds a safe that he hopes has the money that was taken from him. After hours of trying to get it open, Franklin finds that the safe only had $12,000 and that the one chance of him regaining his financial freedom was nothing more than a cruel joke. In the end, the man who once dreamed of controlling Los Angeles became the very thing he despised. A broken, paranoid alcoholic stumbling through the same streets he once ruled. He had power, money, and opportunity in his grasp, but his hunger for more consumed it all. Franklin Saint's life is a tale of ambition and destruction. From cashier to kingpin, his rise was fueled by intelligence, vision, and determination, but his fall was inevitable, brought on by betrayal, greed, and the impossible weight of the empire he built. In the end, Franklin didn't just destroy himself, he destroyed his family, his community, and everything he once claimed to fight for. His story isn't just about the rise and fall of a kingpin, it's about how power, once tasted, can consume everything in its path. What's your take on Franklin's story? Let me know in the comments, and if you want more deep dives into TV characters, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss what's next, and I'll see you next time.